opening remarks, I am fighting very hard to achieve just these purposes. To get money, for example, I've been working very hard to get the exposition line funded. That's the light rail system south of the 10 freeway. Now, here are my transportation goals for LA. Exposition line all the way to the ocean. We got money to go as far as Culver City from downtown, light rail all the way to Santa Monica. Orange line, we should have north-south as well as east-west, so it's really well used and can get someplace. I do want to see a subway going down Wilshire in the long term, but in the short term, increments are important to achieve. And, well, there are many things I think ought to be part of our vision for the next Los Angeles, where the state can play an active role. And all this ties back to something I was talking about earlier. For a lot of this vision to be realized, the state has to redirect resources away from freeways and to transit, and here's how the battle lines are drawn. My friends in the construction unions, freeways, just build things fast, right? That's where they're located right now. I tried, for example, to be among those who was fighting to diminish the use of diesel-powered construction equipment to build the freeways. And that got shot down, ironically, by some of the people who have to breathe it every day. So there's a lot of stuff in play right now. For public transit, in short, the crude fact of the matter is that public transit riders currently vote in much fewer numbers than freeway riders do. And I think, that was just my opinion, I think that's at the bottom of a lot of this stuff. And I think that all of us, I mentioned earlier, if you don't want to ride public transit, you benefit from someone else doing it. We all are in this together in a deeply interconnected way. I'm going to continue to fight for this next year. We did get money in the budget for next year. That was a huge redirection of funds to public transit. However, next year's budget is going to be horrible because of the revenue situation, property, the real estate stuff. A lot less revenue. And I'm concerned that that money that we fought very hard to sequester just for public transit will be swept away like it was this year to balance the budget. I need your help on that too.
They've told me that their hands are tied.
By whom? Not by me.
No, I'm just telling you what, because I've asked LAPD, what can you guys do about it? Okay,
for what it's worth, I think that any source of nuisance or blight in a community is intolerable. And we want to recycle stuff, right? The import of the question is not, let's do away with recycling. It's, let's create the conditions so that it's a safe and clean place, right? Well, whose job is it to make sure places are safe and clean? It's locally elected public officials. It's the police department. It's the Department of Building and Safety. That's where the action is. I think we should be enforcing laws that we have on the books in a humane way. That's what I think. But I don't want to do away with recycling, because otherwise that makes Sunshine Canyon times 3. We can't do that.
We're going to do one more question, and then afterwards Mike will be up here with his staff if you want to come up and ask some more questions. And they will take these questions back with them, and if you put your name and a way to respond, they will get back to you.
Okay, Francine, because I know you would get very upset if this wasn't asked. And it's a good question. And it kind of goes hand in hand with fire hazards on the freeway, too. Graffiti's on our freeway is an absolute embarrassment. It is out of control. What can be done to eradicate it? Caltrans doesn't respond. Driving anywhere looks like a third world country. And then you have this fire safety issue, too. The brush and the weeds along the 405 finally gets cut down, and then now it's, of course, going to grow back again, and the cycle repeats itself. And all of you, before you leave, make sure you clean your tables and put the chairs back and help everybody. And I didn't say you could go yet. You gotta wait. It's a good question.
It's a two-part question. Okay, let me talk about the freeways first, because I actually have good news, Francine, on the freeway front. By coincidence, I was having lunch with an LA Times reporter about other issues a few months ago, and I said, "What are you working on?" So I'm doing a story that's going to run about the fact that Caltrans and the fire department can't seem to agree on protocols to eradicate brush around the 405. And you'll remember well our situation, right? So I pulled together officials from Caltrans and from the fire department in my office. And we convened a meeting, and had a series of other conversations, and the result was a very cool thing, I have to say. Rather than the typical bureaucratic intransigence, people said, we're going to do an historic agreement. Actually, my staff oversaw the writing of it. It's like a written agreement between Caltrans and the fire department, not just for the 405, Sepulveda Pass area, but for other key areas here, and as a model around the state. They're working together to identify the high priority areas where brush can pose a serious fire hazard and get rid of it. And it's not just going to be eradicated and then grow back and become dangerous again. It's going to, on a continuing basis, be kept safe. And I think that's great. And I have to tell you, I was so proud of the interaction between the Caltrans team and the LAFD team. Very constructive and very responsive. And long after I'm not here, they're going to be continuing to work together, which is the point of memorializing this for the long haul. So that's a very good thing and a big success story. Now, as far as graffiti is concerned, I don't have any success story to report to you yet, because I haven't dealt with that issue yet. It's a tough issue because the question is, how do you use Caltrans resources, which essentially are pretty scarce? Because it's just a matter of money, ultimately, Francine. Is that the highest and best use of money? I hate the graffiti on the freeway. And I'm a subscriber to the view that if you show a community in decline, it will decline. And graffiti is an indicator of that. And so, I guess the answer is, I don't have an answer yet. And when I don't, you'll hear that. We'll work as a team. My staff and I will talk more with the Caltrans people and see if they have better ideas about how to deal with graffiti eradication. Because I agree it's a big issue. Wendy, I know, is doing this cameras thing, which I think is very good. A few cameras on the freeway wouldn't be so bad. But let me think about it some more so I can give you a constructive and direct answer that I don't have yet. Okay.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I will stay up here and answer some of your questions. Be sure to take your trash out. Have a wonderful evening. Drive safe. Bye-bye.
And again, thank you so much for allowing me to represent you.